The referee, Mr. Daniel van der Wiel, will now give his final instructions to the boxers.
I spoke to both of you in the dressing room. Obey my commands at all time. Be fair, I will be fair. Shake hands.
12 3-minute rounds for the vacant middleweight championship of Europe.
Well, Howard Eastman has been there before. This has been a great championship weight division in Britain and Europe and the world throughout the years. And as far as the European Middleweight Championship has been concerned, it's been held by 15 Italians, 15 Frenchmen, and 15 British boxers, 3 of them from Scotland and 12 from England, including the man who sits beside me, who went on to win a world championship at the heavier weight, the world super middleweight champion, or former world super middleweight champion, Richie Woodall. And Howard Eastman, his third fight, Richie, in 3 months, and he looks really set for this one.
Yeah, he looks in terrific shape, he really does. He's such a dedicated trainer, Howard, and yeah, he looks up for it tonight.
Eastman, as we said, now 32 years old, still the British and Commonwealth champion, against the man Christophe Tendil, who, like Eastman, is sporting a little beard. Tendil, now 34 years old, recently deposed French middleweight champion, who lost his title not that long ago to another veteran, Hassan Sharifi, a man that, Richie, you might well have met at some stage, and Sharifi's still a pretty dangerous opponent.
Yeah, very dangerous. I boxed him as an amateur and got lucky enough to get a win over him, so yeah. And it's strange sitting here now watching these guys fighting for this title, and a few years ago then, yeah, I won the title, and so I've been down this road a few times myself.
Tendil, who's a former kickboxer, didn't turn to the more conventional form of the fistic art, or the noble art of self-defense, call it what you will, until he was some 27 years old. Eastman looking to regain this title. I don't think it would further his cause in terms of the world rankings, but certainly it keeps him on course for a crack at another version of the world title, and he feels very capable of doing just that. Born in Guyana, now 32 years old. Eastman in those green trunks, mostly green, a little bit of blue. The Frenchman all in black.
Eastman straight away getting to work behind the jab, which is always the best approach for me anyway, and that's what Howard's doing here. He's very economical, he doesn't waste a lot, and he's stepping in with the shots. Look at this stuff from Eastman.
Yeah,
great
wonderful fast hands against the man who has been stopped twice. Pretty relaxed sort of a character. Christophe Tendil comes in at a couple of weeks' notice for the man who was originally nominated, another Frenchman, Battersea, who it seems is in dispute with both the WBC and his promoters and managers, the Akari brothers. That was a good left hand from the Frenchman. So dangerous looking opponent, this fellow.
Yeah, Howard just paid the penalty there, just standing straight in front of Tendil, and Tendil comes across with the left hook, so that should wake Howard up a little bit. It's been a good round from him, though it's got to be said, he's dominated the round, but just gets cool, and that will do him good.
Well, his 2 warm-up fights really don't prepare him for this level of boxing, but he's been there so many times before. And Tendil has a little grimace at him, and Eastman looks back, and they touch gloves. So Rob McCracken, the man whom Howard Eastman beat in April of 2001 for the British, the Commonwealth, and the European title, in his corner now, as indeed his brother Spencer and Cutsman Mick Williamson. Eastman, very fast hands. Tendil just trying to block. Eastman looking for the opening, and that's good covering up, and that was that sweet little left by the Frenchman, who absorbed everything at that stage that Eastman was throwing at him. Eastman feints with the left and then comes across with the right, and then lands with a little corkscrew left right at the end of that flurry. Good opening round, wonderful shot, and there's that little clip on the end of the chin, just to remind Eastman to keep his hands up. Jean-Pierre Di Stefano, the man who's been training Christophe Tendil for most of his professional career. And bringing them together is Daniel van der Wiel of Belgium, refereeing this is 47th European title fight, so vastly experienced. 3 judges at ringside scoring, 1 from Spain, 1 from Italy, and 1 from Finland.
Well, Tendil there again, just throwing that left hook, and Eastman's just got to watch that punch because his right hand is a little bit low and he's just getting caught now and again.
After the loss to Willie Yuppie, Howard Eastman took the best part of a year out of action just to see himself through his contract with Don King at the time. But he's come back and he's had a couple of pretty tough contests. Just before Christmas, beat the Camden Town-based Syrian Hussein Osman. And before that, a Congolese who's based in London, Chardon Ansula. That was on a cut eye. Eastman looking, well, quite warm. There's a lot of perspiration on his back. Familiar Eastman stance, the legs very, very far apart. I'm not sure what sort of leverage you can get, but with that sort of a stance, Richie.
Well, I mean, Eastman, he looks in terrific shape, Jim, he really does. His hands are very, very quick. Extremely sharp hands. The Tendil corner, they should be telling him to try and get close up to Eastman and try and throw more of those left hooks, because on the break, then Eastman does tend to just drop that right hand now and again. But this is better from Howard, just commanding with the jab, sharp jabs, everything behind the jab. This is good stuff.
And we'll wait to see that big right hand coming over from Eastman, I'm quite sure. Remember, 31 of his 34 wins out of 35 scraps have come inside the distance. Plenty of noise coming from the Frenchman's corner. Eastman starting to warm up with a minute to go to the end of the second. Eastman matching Tendil jab for jab, cracking left hand into the Frenchman ribs, and a little 1-2 combination which Tendil just about blocked and no more. And again the left from Tendil looks a pretty decent weapon.
Yeah, he's thrown a couple more this round, hasn't he? And he's got through the couple. But Eastman's so, as I've said, so economical. Doesn't waste a lot of punches, but very sharp. And he's literally just warming up now, Jim, Howard Eastman. Just
trying to look to see if there's a way through that Frenchman's guard. I think he's just trying to find out what Tendil has got to offer. Oh, wonderful little glance from Eastman to the referee, indicating that there was a low blow, and he made nothing of it whatsoever. What a great pro. Great power from Eastman right at the end. Good defense by the Frenchman. And another pretty decent 3 minutes from the 32-year-old. Bit of action from that round. Eastman, good fast hands, trying to find his way through the guard of Tendil, who's kept the hands up more or less all the way through the opening couple of rounds and has defended pretty well. There's a little right one through and the left again, but Tendil has absorbed most of those. Very much Eastman's round.
Trying to survive as much as he's trying to do, alright? So just bust into the body over the top with the hooks, go straight down the middle, anything, just do it in forward. 1-2 left hook and put right hand. Finish it with a hook, alright? The whole lot. Keep protected when there's no.
Good to see Eastman concentrating on what his former opponent and now his trainer Rob McCracken is having to say to him.
Yeah, McCracken, I mean, he's boxed at every level, so they've got a good experienced corner there.
So 2 rounds of the scheduled 12 gone for this, the vacant European Middleweight title. A title vacated by yet another Frenchman, Moradi Hakar, who gave it up because he's in line, it seems, for a crack at Bernard Hopkins. I think Howard Eastman would envy him that particular scrap, but Eastman needs to get another Frenchman out of the way if he possibly can.
Well, the tactics here from Tendil, plain to see, keeping the guard nice and high. They've told him to keep that guard high and try and get a left hook counter across. That's what they've told him to do here. He's starting to throw more left hooks than ever.
Eastman has a little glance, I'm not sure in what direction, over to a neutral corner. Well, the feeling before this contest, Richie, was, and I've got to just comment very briefly, that there's a nasty bit of swelling on the outside of the right eye of the Frenchman. The feeling before this contest is that if Tendil tries to box defensively, he could stretch this out. If he has a go at Eastman, Eastman is going to pick him off and win it.
That's right, I think Howard would prefer to. He would prefer a few rounds under his belt, but the way it's going, Howard, he's going to get through, and these are telling shots now from Eastman.
Yeah, Eastman just picking up the pressure now on the midway point in this third round. Tendil comes back, but not landing with anything. And the Belgian referee is having a little glance at that right eye of Tendil. Interesting, relaxed sort of a fellow. Spent most of the afternoon in the hotel playing pool. Eastman boxing nice and economically now, just taking the foot off the pedal ever so slightly, and I think he may realise that he's got the measure of this Frenchman. Good covering up by Eastman. Tendil shots not landing at all. Good flurry by Tendil, but Eastman replies in kind and a wee bit more. Last 30 seconds to go. Good defense by Tendil. Eastman's trying to probe, trying to get underneath the elbows of his French opponent. Again, the left from Tendil wasn't a bad shot.
Yeah, he's got through again, a couple more shots this round. Eastman's took a couple that he shouldn't have taken. He stood in front of his man and he's been caught. But overall, again, I mean, he's dominating here. Look at this. This is excellent from Eastman towards the end of this round.
Nice little combination from Howard Eastman. And back to the corner, and another good round from Howard Eastman. So we can go ringside and join Gary Richardson, who's with Mick Hennessy.
Mick, your take on the fight so far, how do you think it's going for him?
Yeah, I think it's going great. Tendil was a rough, tough middleweight who normally comes on strong in the second half of the fight, but this is an educated performance from Howard. He's working his jab beautifully, and he's starting to get his right hand off, and he's also working his body well. So it's an educated performance, and I think he's going to break him down slowly.
And a quick word as the promoter, a European title possibly, but maybe a world stage and a world title later.
Yeah, most definitely. We'd love to push for the Bernard Hopkins fight. There's other big fights out there. There's the Robin Reed fight and there's Calzaghe. We're big on those fights. We think Howard's the best of the lot.
Mick, thank you very much indeed, Jim.
Well, there's the man who's worked up a fair old lad there, Howard Eastman. If he's going to fight Joe Calzaghe or Robin Reed, he's got to move up to the super middleweight division. The man beside me did it pretty successfully, Richie Woodall. But you're a lot taller than Howard Eastman.
Yeah, that's right, and I had to move up. I don't know whether he actually should move up if he can make the middleweight division. But he's certainly, for me, one of the best middleweights in the world, Howard Eastman, if not the best, as I hope he will go on to prove that. But a good performance here at this stage anyway.
Well, when he lost to Willie Yoppie in Las Vegas in November of 2001, he had Yoppie down towards the end of the contest, and a lot of people felt had it been in Britain or anywhere other than the States, he would have won it. So he's still got it all to do, starting here tonight in Nottingham against a rugged French opponent. Eastwood just chipping away and then defending when he has to. This is going to sap the strength out of Tendil.
Yeah, Eastman's stepping in with the punches here.
Referee said to Tendil, don't slap. And this is interesting tactic by Eastman. He's decided just to match power for power because he feels he's got the superior power, Richie.
That's right, yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening here. And I also believe he feels that he can take Tendil's punches, so he's prepared to take the shot to land his own. It's risky business, it's got to be said, but up to now, I mean, he's well winning the fight and he's starting to break Tendil down.
Tendil starting to puff and blow a bit. All that cumulative effect is really getting to him. Lovely right hand round the corner by Eastman. Midway through this first round, and Eastman really, the strength is coming through now. Don't be fooled by that beard of his. It's not really that colour. He dyes it just for effect. Eastman smiles. Knows he's winning this. Still a minute to go. Tendil starting to wobble a little bit. How much more of this can he take?
Oh, that was a terrific right uppercut from Eastman. He's starting to step in with the punch now, Jim, and shorten his punches. A lot of more hooks are going in, more powerful shots.
Eastman behind that red gum shield is really grinning. He's really enjoying this one. Eastman back in business. The referee's having a good look. Tendil, I don't think there's much left in the tank. This could go before the end of round 4. Eastman could well be regaining his European title, and he could be a triple champion once again. Tendil, the game as you like, coming storming back, but there's nothing there on those punches. Now, as Eastwood time to finish it before the end of this round, Tendil is offering very little. Daniel van der Velde is having a good look at Tendil. He's still there. Eastman perhaps wondering why he's still there, but the reason is pride, and Tendil bidding to become the 16th Frenchman to win this title. It was all started off from a French point of view by the great Georges Carpentier way back about 1912. But Tendil is not Georges Carpentier and Howard Eastman, and I think the man beside me who held this European title, Richie Woodall, would agree that Eastman is as good a European champion at this weight that Britain has ever produced.
Oh, I would say so, that as well, Jim, definitely. But in this round, this was a super display of power punching from Howard Eastman. He put a line to this round, and we're going to have to see how his fitness is, but every shot he was throwing seemed to be with power and seemed to be very accurate in hitting the target.
Well, it's been pretty comprehensive. All rounds 10-9. Referee Mick Goodall is getting in. I think this contest may well have been stopped. I'm just wondering whether the corner have pulled him out. But Mike Goodall is in, and Howard Eastman, I think, would have liked to have won that inside the, well, on the canvas, as opposed to that kind of a stoppage. But he really put so much into round number 4 that really it was just a case of postponing an inevitable victory for Howard Eastman. So we'll get the official verdict in just a moment, but we have to pay tribute to the work by Howard Eastman. Rounds 3 and 4 were great examples of power punching. Christophe Tendil, to be fair, a late substitute for Erland Bottari, his fellow Frenchman, just simply ran out of options and ran out of power, and he was becoming all too easy to hit. So a terrific display by Howard Eastman, and another very positive step by the Battersea Bomber on the way to another crack at a world title, which without a single shadow of a doubt he very, very richly deserves. Terrific performance by Howard Eastman.
Ladies and gentlemen, after doctor's advice, the referee has stopped the contest. Christophe Tendil having sustained a damaged jaw, leaving the winner and the new middleweight champion of Europe, Howard Eastman. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please give your appreciation to brave opponent, Christophe Tendil.
Well, Christophe Tendil gave it his very best.
Charge, Mr. Roberto
but Richie
Ray,
Woodall, I'm sure you'll agree that very few people were going to stand up to the sort of power that Howard Eastman was showing.
Eastman.
Yeah, I mean, the power he was showing there was awesome. It really was. He put everything into that round, and we had a few little boos there for Christophe Tendil, and that was totally out of order because this fella came in at short notice, gave a good display. He was just outgunned and outbombed. That was it.